Joining us now is Democratic Congressman Robert Garcia of California. He's the ranking member of the Oversight Committee. Congressman, thanks so much for stepping out to talk with us. Governor Walz and A.G. Ellison are saying Republicans are just politicizing this situation. Yes, we've cracked down on fraud. From your perspective, what's the purpose of today's hearing?
We're actually still trying to figure that out. I mean, let's talk about the reality and the facts. And I think the chairman there was just deflecting. The truth is that there is fraud and waste in every single state across the country. It needs to be addressed. That's why you have U.S. attorneys. That's why you have independent inspector generals. And it's consistently addressed. What's important is that if a few people in a state are committing fraud, that we then don't go in and remove food assistance for hundreds of thousands of children, or that we don't go in and cut health care for millions across the country, or that we don't go in and send thousands of ICE agents to then murder American citizens and kidnap kids like Liam Ramos and send them to a detention center. And that is really what this is about. Where are the hearings about what's actually happened in Minnesota, which is American citizens like Alex Preddy and Renee Good being shot and murdered? Where is the justice for Liam Ramos, who was deported and taken essentially to a camp in another state and locked up there for no reason, a kid, a child? Instead, what's happened is Republicans are attacking food care assistance, Medicare assistance, health care assistance, and not recognizing that the state's actually been addressing where there is an issue, it gets addressed. That's what this is about, and we've got to push back forcefully.
And as you know, that there are some questions being asked of the DHS secretary as we speak on some of those other issues related to the actions in Minnesota during that big immigration crackdown surge. But I want to ask you, since you are the ranking member on the Oversight Committee, about developments related to the Epstein Files investigation that your committee is pursuing. You have Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick now, who is Epstein's former neighbor, agreeing to a transcribed interview with your committee. Does it surprise you that he is volunteering to do this? And what information do you hope he'll provide?
Well, it's about time. And let's be really clear. We were actually going to subpoena Howard Lutnick today in the Oversight Committee. He was very aware of that. And so he, of course, did the right thing. And yesterday goes and says he'll voluntarily answer our questions. We're glad he's doing so, because we were going to subpoena him and he'd be in front of us whether he wanted to or not. Now, look, Howard Lutnick, of course, said that he did not have any contact with Epstein after 2005. He was very public about that. And then what do we learn? He went on the plane. He went to the island. He went into business with Jeffrey Epstein. His wife was communicating with him. And here he is today, our Commerce Secretary. He's a complete liar as it relates to his relationship with Epstein. He should not be serving in this position. He should resign. The Trump-Epstein scandal, the cover-up continues. We have to ensure that we end this, and so we look forward to Howard Lutnick testifying. Now, just in the Oversight Committee, just maybe within the last hour, there's been a subpoena that's been proposed to bring in Pam Bondi to actually explain to the American public why 50% of the files still have not been released. So I'm hoping Republicans will join Democrats and actually get that through the floor as well.
Chairman Comer also ordered 7 new witnesses to testify as part of this investigation, which now includes Bill Gates, as well as one of President Obama's top White House lawyers, Catherine Rumler. The list also includes some former assistants to Epstein and business leaders. Why these specific names, and why now?
Well, first, we support, as Democrats, we'll talk to anybody, and we don't care if they're Democrats or Republicans or if they worked for former Democratic administrations or Republican ones. So we will continue to push Republicans on oversight to issue these subpoenas. Of course, Republicans in the majority, they're the ones that hold the subpoena power unless we're able to force votes. And so we support this. These are some of these names on that list we've been asking Chairman Comer to subpoena. There are other names that we also want in front of the Oversight Committee as well. But unlike sometimes the other side of the aisle who likes to make excuses, we will talk to anyone, and we don't care what party they're in. What we want is justice for the survivors. So let's have those conversations, and let's find out what their connections to Jeffrey Epstein actually were. But one more thing I want to say, Ann, about that. The one person that's not on that list is Donald Trump. And Donald Trump's in those Epstein files almost more than anyone besides Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell herself. So let's get the president to actually testify in front of our committee.